Well, the time has come. I've hit 1,000 hours on the TB260. So got it in here today. I'm gonna try to do my 1,000-hour service and just kind of go over the machine, get it greased. It looks like I need to tighten the tracks up a little bit. They're just a little bit loose in there, but the 1,000-hour service is going to be a whole lot like the 250-hour service I did. Or it's pretty much spot on with the 500-hour service. But well, when I did the 250-hour, I basically changed everything I wanted to today. But it's the engine oil and filter, the inner and outer air filter, the hydraulic in-tank filter, the fuel filter, and pilot line filter that controls the hydraulics going to the joysticks and stuff. So it's not a whole lot. You don't actually change all of the hydraulic fluid. On the excavators, that's every 4,000 hours. The loaders, it's every 1,000. So I've done the loader so many times, I can tell you and remember just what it needs, where the excavator is still a little bit new, so I got the book out here to go over that. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. And I also have to change out the gear oil in the final drive, so that won't be too bad. I got them set up. I've already got them turned. So yeah, you drain it there. You'll fill it there until it comes out of the middle, but we'll kind of get them draining as we get going. So, and I do have the arm up this time, so when I pop this lid loose to take the in-tank hydraulic filter, I won't have fluid going everywhere. And yeah, I need to clean this thing. This thing's dusty, so I haven't washed it off in a little while. But so that's where the in-tank hydraulic filter goes, which is this guy. It just drops down in there. Let's see, the fuel filter's right there. Yeah, this thing is dirty. The oil filter's down there, you can't really see it. And then the pilot line filter is inside there, and then that's just the water fuel separator, so we'll just drain the water out. And then yeah, those things and the final drives, and that's it this round. We'll check and inspect the slew gear and stuff and make sure there's enough grease and stuff inside of there. But yeah, pretty straightforward. I don't know if I'll film every bit of it. And then at the end, I'm going to do kind of a 1,000-hour review. The stuff I like about the machine, some little things I don't like about the machine. And yeah, just kind of go over that. But well, I've had it a little over almost a year and a half. I got it in July of 19, so I have been very happy with it so far, and really haven't had a whole lot. I did have to get a new hydraulic pump, which is this blue deal right down here, installed at like 600 hours. I may have went over that in a video before, but the whole deal was leading up to that, you probably heard it kind of whining more. It was kind of bogging down and whining, and the way that I understood that is the pump was turned up too high. They're supposed to be like at 87% from the factory. Mine was somehow set at 100, and they couldn't, I don't know if it ran too long that way, but they couldn't dial it back down. So it was under warranty. They just ended up replacing it, and they got it set at 87, and it actually runs cooler, and everything just feels smoother about it. Because I did notice it was kind of running warm and overheating a little bit, so I think I don't know if they had a bad batch of pumps or what the deal was with it. But Midwest Equipment, they took great care of me and stuff up there, so they got it in and out and got it done. And like I said, I haven't had a problem with it since then, and it still was running and working fine. You could just tell the engine was bogging down, but the power was still there digging, but it was just kind of pulling down and running a little bit warm. So yeah, I was glad to get that fixed. Yeah, we'll get started on draining the oil on this, and I'll try to kind of go over all the parts I'm doing. Okay, and usually what I do, there's a small plate. You can actually see the little square. You can normally just take that off because you have this tube that screws onto here, and is basically, as that tightens down, there's a spring inside that drains it. The only thing that kind of drives me nuts about that is that when you take the oil filter, which is right up here, off, unless you set, I don't know, like a piece of paper or cardboard or something, it usually runs and goes all over that plate. So if you take this whole thing off, it usually lets the oil run out just right here and misses just getting the oil right in there. So it's just kind of a little thing that I try to do. This way I can kind of make sure I don't need to clean anything out or look at any of this. And you just tighten it down, it just pushes on that spring, and well, there you go. Okay, I lied. You're still gonna want to hold that line. Like that's some hoses or lines. You just need to kind of push them forward as you're letting the oil drain. Okay, I checked, and it is, you change both the outer and inner air filters. So that's that, and then that's the inner one. Now this one doesn't look terrible, but you can see just a little bit of the, kind of start to see the wires and stuff like that. It's a little bit dirty in there, but you don't really, if the outer filter is doing its job, the inner filter will pretty much last, but they recommend to change it, so that's what we're gonna do. Yeah, you can tell quite a bit of difference in these. This one doesn't get near the dust and junk in it as like the loader, but it's not doing as much tracking back and forth. Fuel filter's all changed out. Now we'll do the in-tank hydraulic filter. I kind of wipe the top of it off there just to kind of get the dust and junk off of there before we pop that out. But yeah, this time we shouldn't have a massive leak, because I think last time I had the arm laid down or something, so you can tell the fluid level's not even where it needs to be. When you have the arm all laid out flat and the bucket curled back and all the cylinders are completely, I don't know what you'd call them, I guess closed, when all the fluid is out of them, you want the mark to be about halfway in that line. So right now you got the thumb cylinder down, so that's almost full of oil, and like I said, with the rest of them got about halfway. So we shouldn't have the mess that we did the last time. And these are a 17 millimeter. Oh yeah, hit that little deal and that kind of releases the pressure. Not that it's gonna make the bolts any looser, but geez. And this will have a spring underneath the lid. Should have like a O-ring or a gasket and then a spring in there. Success. We'll have stuff flowing everywhere. Yeah, this is just like the loader. You got the spring, and then this little piece at the spring. That's what pushes in on top of the filter. I did spill some. I don't think it's got a top or a bottom on which way it goes. You just want to make sure it's lined up down in there. I'll bring that piece back and set it in there. The spring. And now the fluid in here is AW46. I think it's hydraulic fluid and not hydraulic oil. One of them, there is a difference. I can never remember. One of them's thinner than the other one, I know that. This stuff almost looks like water. So it's whatever one is considered thinner. And that is that. Yep, I'm just that strong, so. Nah, I actually busted this. It's 1 inch and a 1/16 wrench, which I'm sure it's metric, but it's whatever size is equivalent to that. I like using a wrench instead of a socket just because it's up there a little bit closer. Probably should have brought something over here to catch all this with. Yeah, there we go. Get that everywhere. Like I said, just a little honeycomb filter. It's already got a new O-ring in there. Just kind of pop it on like so. A little handy dandy wrench and snug it up, so good to go. Yeah, it takes almost 2 gallons, so 7.8 quarts, but we will get that filled up now and then fire it up, make sure we don't have any leaks. You can hear that clicking. That's the electric fuel pump priming the system for whenever I change the fuel filter. So now we'll fire it up, make sure nothing's leaking. Good everywhere. I don't see any hydraulic fluid or fuel or oil or anything like that. Now we'll shut it off, let it kind of settle down and check the fill level on the oil. We shouldn't need to top it off. And then we'll get these planetaries. Side here's the grease fitting, and it's kind of like the loader. You just grease that, it pushes the cylinder up, which pushes the front idler and tightens the tracks. And we're actually looking for from here to the frame 3 1/4 or 3.5. It's actually 3.3 or 3.7 is the range inches. So you can see we're at like 4 3/4, so it's just a touch loose. You can see the track. That's probably good. That's 3 3/4. I'd rather do that and run them just a touch on the loose side and crank them down and then just stretch them. And then once I let it down and run it, it may stretch a little bit more. Yeah, that'll work. Well, that pretty much concludes the 1,000-hour service. The only thing I haven't done is grease the slew bearing, or with the swing or whatever, which is that is this fitting. And basically what you do is you get the machine, I kind of do it every 50 hours. You just get the tracks and stuff like that straight in line, grease it a little bit, and then you spin it 45 degrees where it's right here, grease it, and then so on and so on. Do that 4 times, and then you spin around a couple of directions one way and then a couple the other way. And then, not that it really matters, I don't know, every other time I kind of angle it in all 4 directions. But that's basically the giant ring gear, which you can't see anything because it's dark, but that well, the cab and stuff like that, or the chassis of the machine, sits on and spins. So you just got to grease that every 50 hours. But obviously I got to do that outside to have room, and it's dark, so I'll try to go over that another time in another video. This is actually the second time I've done this video. I did this last week when I did the 1,000-hour service on it, and somehow managed to not get all that on my computer. So I've still got the service on it, I just didn't have the review part of it. So I've got it inside today. I had it outside the last time because it's cold, it's rainy, it's wet. So I just brought it back in here. And I had some footings that I dug yesterday that were nice and muddy, as you can tell, but I wanted to get this part on the video. I've been extremely pleased with this machine. So it's done everything that I've wanted it to do. And I just kind of wanted to make a video kind of reviewing kind of the likes, dislikes, and stuff like that of it. And also I'll just say that these are my personal opinion. It's not like, you know, this is the tell-all, be-all, or whatever like that. So I know I'm going to get people that's going to say, you know, Caterpillar's better, Bobcat's better. It's all personal preference. So this is what works for me. These are what I like. So that's the whole reason there. It's not like I'm saying you have to have a Takeuchi. That's why they make different brands. But I'm also pointing that out there that, like I said, this is my opinion, and I'm not trying to tell people, hey, this is how it's going to be or whatever. So I'm not trying to start that argument. This is just, I just love these machines. There's not a whole lot that I can really come up with that I don't like about it. So I mean, like some minor, like the vents are kind of cheap in it and the speakers and stuff like that, but I've not found anything so far that really annoys me or I don't like about it with the way it, you know, digs and the functions of anything like that. So we'll just kind of, I guess, start out here a little bit. The angle blade, I am very happy that I got that upgrade. At first I was a little bit worried or didn't think I was going to use it as much. It does tend to stick out, I want to say maybe 6-7 inches more than what a standard blade will do, but that's because when it angles, it comes almost over here to the blade. So if it was sucked back closer, you wouldn't be able, you know, it'd hit the tracks and stuff like that. So it does stick out just a little bit further. I mean, there's 1 or 2 times I can think of, it seems like when you're digging the hole really deep, where it kind of gets hard to see when it sticks out a little bit further, and you kind of just need to watch when you swing in. Sometimes you can, I've had it where it's been angled, so, you know, one side or the other kicks out and the bucket actually catches. But this has been really nice for you know, backfilling ditches or around buildings and like footings. When I dig them and kick the spoils out, I can kind of run along the edge there and angle it out and just keep rolling that stuff away. So that is definitely an upgrade that I'm happy that I got. I would say the biggest upgrade that I put on here that I like, I love this work brow hydraulic coupler. That to me is the ticket. I've been able to be so much more efficient now that I can change the buckets and attachments on the fly. So I usually take almost all of them with me, no matter what job. Sometimes I don't always take the 36-inch one, but like on my footing jobs, I take the 12, 18. I usually have the 24-inch on there because that's what kind of fits the best when I load up on my trailer. I'll put the ripper inside of it because it seems like everything always, I always take the ripper anymore, at least with the 24-inch bucket and normally the grading bucket. Those are kind of my go-to buckets because whatever I dig, when I get done, I usually throw the grading bucket on to do my cleanup because that thing does such a better job. It seems like with the width of it and how you can just clean it up with the bottom, and then that smooth edge just is like key for cleaning stuff up, it seems like. I do like the thumb better. I know I've had a lot of people tell me how, you know, it's not as quick, which I agree, it's not as quick, but that's not really a Takeuchi deal. The new thumb comes with a new cylinder, and this cylinder is probably half again as big as what the tag cylinder and thumb were. And they have you add this plate to it, so when the thumb comes up there and hits, I like the design of this because it keeps up again, it's tighter up against the cylinder, so it's not sticking out. So when you're digging, it's kind of up, you know, up against there a little bit tighter. Visibility's better, and it just seems to me it's just a stronger, heavier duty thumb. It would be nice if they made an option where it had 2 more tines on the outside. It's got these skinny ones for like the 12-inch bucket and the 18. They line up with that, where on the 12-inch bucket, if you had 2 more tines out here, it would hit, but it would be ideal on this bucket because they would all go in between the teeth. So that would be something I would like to either add or maybe see Workbra come up with, because it seems like this size machine and down, all of the thumbs are this style, and then if you go like to the 20,000 pound machines and up, you're able to get the 4 tines. So that's one thing, you know, I kind of wish, but it's not a make or break. Like I said, the cylinder is a little bit slower. I don't know if there's orifices inside there. The lines going to it are the same, but you're trying to get more fluid in or out, so that may be part of it that slows it down. And like I said, I don't think it's a flow issue as much as like a volume issue and stuff, so, or a pressure issue, I mean. So yes, I highly recommend, I don't care what brand of machine you run, but a hydraulic quick coupler, I love that thing. It takes me less than a minute to change buckets as long as you have them all laid out. So I just feel like I can be more efficient. I don't have to dig with the 24-inch bucket to put a water line or something like that, or bury a downspout. I can take that 12 or 18, have less spoils and stuff like that to clean up and backfill, and just switch over to it, put the grading bucket on, grade it out, dress it up. So yes, I'm very happy with that. And I would say right now, probably my Workbra rake is probably my most favorite attachment to use. It's right up there with the grading bucket and the ripper. So it's just amazing what you can do with an excavator and these different attachments and stuff. Another thing, like for a lot of the work I do, I mean, this machine to me is about the perfect size. It's about the biggest one I can get in a lot of these jobs that I get. Now, I know on some of the jobs I've been landing stuff where the 290 or even that 2150 would be the ideal one, but for, I'd say, the majority of the work in town, it's just about the right size. It's still small enough to get in places, but big enough to kind of make some short work of the various jobs and such. Another thing that I absolutely love about this machine is the size of the cab. This thing's probably, I think it's a lot like their loaders. I think they've got the largest cab in their class versus anything. And I don't know, the year or two before I even bought the 153, which it's a zero tail swing machine. That builder that I work for, we've rented several Bobcats, a couple Cats, and a Kubota, I believe, but in a case. And I think a Hyundai. Out of all those, they were all in this 12,000 pound range. I think this one weighs like 12.5 with the angle blade and the coupler and everything else on there, maybe closer to 13,000. But like the 305 Cats, seems like the Cats, Kubotas, and the cases, the opening on the door is a lot smaller. I know like on the Kubotas, they actually kind of angle over to here, and where you have a step on the outside, where that's, I mean, the only thing is you just got to step out and hit the track. But for me, I'm 6'3", so there is plenty of room to get in and out of here is what I like about it. And, which is dark in here and dark in the cab, but I like too is that I can actually track comfortably in this machine with my feet. So I got a size 13 boot. I mean, it's a little bit bigger than that pedal, but it's not like it's awkward or anything like that, where I know, I think it was the E50 Bobcat, and then even like the Cats and stuff, it just seemed like the pedals were kind of up and further back, so it was just not comfortable to get in here and track with the feet. But so yeah, I mean, you can, like I said, I can sit comfortably in here, and to me the visibility is just fantastic. I like it that this pillar is further back, so when you look out here like with your peripheral, it's not in the way, where, once again, I'm not trying to like knock the Cats or whatever, they're still good machines, but they're a lot more confined. They had it seemed like their cab or this corner was a lot smaller than what this is. So it's just all the time, it's like I was trying to like, lean up and look around that, where this one, to me, it's just very, you just got great visibility. The back glass is huge. This big side glass is nice, and I like it how you can just kind of see over the top of the machine and kind of back right up to things. So that's That's a big thing. I like how wide the cab is, because like I said, I know in the Kubotas, maybe even the cases too, since the cab comes in, you don't have the room over here. Like when you want to shut the door, it would actually be over to here. So then that'd be kind of close to your foot. But then you'd also, you know, when you sit back in here looking and digging, you'd just have the edge of the cab. You kind of try to look out and stuff like that. So I mean, just like their loaders, I got the largest opening in the windows and stuff like that. So yeah, there's just tons of room in here. I mean, it's comfortable. The controls are nice because they are still, I think they're the only ones that make the true pilot controls. They're not like electronic over hydraulic, so it doesn't seem like you get that, you know, second hesitation and stuff like that when you move the joystick. You move these joysticks whatever direction the machine is moving, it's digging. This is where I had them put the quick coupler button. So you just press the green and hold the red till it beeps, then you unhook it, and then when you want to latch it back, you just hit the yellow one down there. But I want it to all just kind of look like it's kind of factory and meant to be. So that was, I mean, I guess it can be a little inconvenient, but I run deer pattern. So the bucket and the stick out there that the bucket's attached to is all with my right hand. So you have to curl the bucket back when you want to take the bucket loose or as you're pressing the button. So it works better for me to take my left hand off and be doing that, and then using my right hand to curl the bucket to make it unhook. So I just kind of like it down there and out of the way. To me, this is probably one of the most best balanced minis that I've ever ran. It just, you can dig and do things with the blade up. You don't have to have the blade down. You don't get the rocking and jerking. I did that some on the 153, but that's also a zero tail swing machine, so that's a whole different animal there on trying to compare those. This one's actually like a conventional excavator, but they're so well balanced. You don't, I mean, unless you're just, the ground's unstable, you just don't get the rocking and bucking. It's just nice and smooth, and I don't know. Like I said, I'm just extremely pleased with the machine overall. Yeah, really, like I said, I have zero complaints about that. Even with the windshield up, you know, like I said, I'm 6'3", pretty tall, so, but there's still probably a foot between here and my head, and then when you put the window up, you still probably got 6 inches, so it's not like, you just don't feel like you're confined with anything. Yeah, these vents are the only thing I've kind of complained about. They're just kind of cheap little plastic, or that piece in there is actually broken. The vents have fallen out. They've been replaced. I had one speaker, the wire just kind of came unsoldered, but like I said, that's some pretty minor junk that has nothing to do with the machine and the function and stuff like that of it. So yeah, I think I've pretty much hit all the high points. I mean, I got the coupler. That's definitely a must on there. I do like the angle blade. Everything's easy to grease and get to. Even when you do the servicing and stuff like that, everything's easy to get to. I like how the hood pops open here. You can get to all the filters easy. You can get to all that, and then everything right over here. I like it that the battery's up here. It's not, you know, underneath your feet or in an inconvenient spot. You got your windshield fluid. It seems like the whole machine's pretty well thought out, and it's just easy to get to all the parts that you need to get to. So yeah, like I said, I know that was a lot of just kind of my opinion or how I feel or what works good for me, but I encourage you guys to try, you know, if you got other dealers or other brands in your area, try those, because what works for me may not work for you. There may be something about this machine that you don't like, or, you know, who knows or whatever. That's why they have all the different brands. So, I mean, the one I'm going to push everyone towards is Takeuchi. I mean, they don't sponsor me or anything, you know, nothing like that. Not like they're paying me to tell them that. I just really love their machines. So I'm always pushing them. Try for yourself, and, you know, some of you may like the Kubotas, some may like the Cats or the Cases. I mean, you know, the Bobcats, they've got all these different brands. So it's not so much, you know, oh, this one's better than all the rest of them or whatever. It's what works better for you, and that's all you really got to worry about. I get a lot of questions about the tinted windows. I do really like those. The back and sides are a 15% tint, so it's pretty dark, but like when you're in there, it's not as bad. And the front, I just did a 30% percent on there. So when it's not like cloudy or in a dark shop, it's actually, I mean, it still looks dark from the outside, but it's not actually that dark looking out. This is a 39-inch LED that I got off Amazon, and it just happened to work out. The width of it bolts on to where the mirrors and stuff like that bolted onto before. And then the nice thing, if I can get up here, right up here where the wire goes in, this thing's actually wired with a male and female wire from the factory for a light up there. They just don't come, you may be able to order them with a light on there, but so yeah, you pop that little grommet out and the 2 wires are right there. So you just plug those in and, you know, away I went. So it actually just worked out great to get that. And that thing puts out a ton of light. You almost can't even tell that that one's working. It's got some lights here on the side, which is nice for when you're loading up on the trailer in the dark. And the tail lights light up too. Just when you have the lights on, it's not like it's got brakes or anything, but yeah, and then there's another one of those lights right there, and then you got that guy right there, which I'm looking at trying to replace that to an LED as well. So yeah, hopefully that was a decent review for you guys that had questions about it. And like I said, if you're in the market, I would definitely give these a look. But you know, try the other ones. Like I said, just see what works for you, because we've all got kind of different preferences and stuff like that. So yeah, the 1,000-hour review of the 2019 Takeuchi TB260. We'll catch you later.